Stay tuned for a meeting of the City of Calabasas Commission. The meeting will be broadcast using Zoom and the City CTV Channel 3. Commission members may teleconference into the meeting without noticing or posting an agenda at their teleconference location. Besides the live TV and Zoom broadcast, the live stream of the meeting may be viewed online at cityofcalabasas.com/CTV Live. If you want to provide public comment, press raise hand if you're using Zoom or *9 if you're joining by phone. Just unmute yourself by pressing *6. Say your name and the city you live in. You'll be allowed 3 minutes to address the commission regarding any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. If the power or internet goes out lasting more than 15 minutes, or if there's some event that prevents the commission from meeting or prevents you from providing public comment, then the meeting will be adjourned. Any items noticed as public hearings will be rescheduled to the next regular commission meeting. Any other agenda items the commission has not taken action on will be placed on a future agenda. Now, a meeting of the City of Calabasas Commission.
It's good to go.
Good evening and welcome to the Public Safety Commission meeting, July 25th. Welcome all. I'd like to do a roll call. Starting with Norma.
I'm here.
Brian.
I'm here.
Ed.
Here.
Matt.
Here.
Okay, those are your commissioners for this evening. I'm Sharon Boucher. I'd like to, Brian, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Be honored. Hand over the heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I'd like to call for an approval of the minutes for the agenda for this evening. May I have a vote?
So moved.
For the agenda first?
Yes, approval of the agenda.
Yes.
May I have a motion? Brian,
Yes.
second?
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, I'd like to call for an approval of the April 25th meeting minutes. Do I have an approval on that, or are there any changes at this point in time?
I have no corrections or changes or additions, so I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second here.
I'll second.
Thank you, Norma. All right. Let's move into some announcements and introductions. Michael Dyer, our interim emergency manager, welcome to the group.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, commissioners and community members. My name is Michael Dyer. I came I live in Westlake Village. I've lived out here 32 years. By way of experience, I spent 31 years with the Los Angeles County Fire Department, rose up the ranks all the way to both #2 positions in the department, Chief Deputy of Business Operations, Chief Deputy of Operations. Then I went on to become the Fire Chief of the Santa Barbara County Fire Department twice, retired in 2015, and then came back for the Woolsey Fire in 2018. Paramedic, 28 years, hazardous materials specialist, urban search and rescue specialist, chair of Fire Scope, the chair of Fire Scope Board of Directors for the state, chair of the contract counties, masters in public administration. I've signed on with the city to help Debbie do emergency preparedness. I look forward to working with you. And she'll go over some things that we've initiated. I've only been on now 2 weeks, but we've hit the ground running. And I'm excited to be here and work with you on emergency preparedness for the community.
Thank you very much. I'm looking to my commissioners. Are there any questions that you would like to ask Michael?
Michael, when did you decide to do all this? At what age?
Oh, well, believe it or not, I was a lifeguard, Los Angeles County lifeguard. When I was 18 years old, worked in Venice Beach, then worked all the way down in San Pedro, worked all the beaches probably on the Southern California coast that were in Los Angeles County. Became really interested in becoming a firefighter. So at the age of 24, left becoming I was a full-time lifeguard, and then left and became a firefighter for the Los Angeles County Fire Department in 1986.
Well, lucky for us to have you. So welcome aboard.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
And Michael, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be, you know what? I want to be retired.
How's that working?
No, it's not working. Actually, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be here, and I'm thankful for every day that I wake up and I get to do this. And I just figured I couldn't be doing ancestry.com for years and years, without, staying in emergency preparedness and working with folks that are passionate about it like yourselves. And so going forward, I'm excited that I'm working down here in this community. I did a little work for Westlake after the Woolsey fire. And I'm excited to work with Debbie Larson, who's been at the city of Calabasas for a very long time and who's done a lot of great emergency management work for the city. And I'm excited to work with her and the folks at the city to make the place safer.
I have a question.
Norma.
For you. Oh, thank you. I have a question for you. Are you a ham operator?
No, I'm not. I know a little bit about radios, but I don't do ham.
Well, if you are able to come in on Wednesday mornings, Debbie can allow you to listen in to our SERP group. We check in every Wednesday, and we have an amazing group of long-term SERP volunteers, and we're really looking forward to working with you on communications.
Awesome. Well, and I'm a big believer in that. We had a lot of social media now, but getting back to ham and the AM radio station 1630 that the city has, some of these communications avenues are going to be up and running when all the other stuff is down. So these redundant communication systems are very important. And I'll remind Debbie to remind me to get on the airwaves with you on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Debbie?
I was just going to say, you could hold your comments until we get to after the fire and the sheriff and CHP have done the reports. Because I will be talking about everything that I'm doing and Michael and I are doing. So hold your questions until then, and we can talk later. So actually, the next item is the
next item, is the flu clinic.
I'll just type in. We have scheduled it for October 1st. It's a Saturday, I believe, and it'll be the usual in Founders Hall, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. I don't have a flyer yet, but I'll send that out as we get closer. We'll be doing that once again. I think it's the 12th or the 13th year that we've done that, so it will happen again. So back to you, Sharon.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. I do want to say one other thing that after Brian does his update on EPIC, I'd like to make sure that the commissioners, if they have any comments to make during this announcement process, that they get to make some of the comments, because that was not on the, it's not scheduled. We usually like to have that in case there's something upcoming that they want to make sure the community knows. Okay. So with that, let's go to Brian, your EPIC update.
Okay, I'll try to be quick on this without getting into my auctioneering voice. What
what has Epic FSC done since our last meeting? Well, we completed 27 home ignition zone evaluations, bringing the total so far to 94. We operated a booth at the May 12th HOA neighborhood group meeting at Founders Hall. We made a presentation to the CPHA annual meeting, May 31st, made an emergency communications presentation to LVM COG, June 1. Operated a booth at the July 4th fireworks spectacular with Debbie at Calabasas High School. And we've continued our funding efforts to support the Epic FSC mission. We were notified that our grant application for $75,000 from CAL FIRE OES has been approved, but I'm still waiting for the paperwork. And we're awaiting notification on applications that we put in for roughly $55,000 more. Structural support activities. We have retained an accountant for bookkeeping and income tax filings. We've selected a public relations consultant who starts next month, and we will soon be contracting with an app developer. On the wildfire mitigation unit, we will be working with the PR consultant to drive HI's demand. Again, our big problem there is apathy, so we need to get through that. We are building the wildfire mitigation portion of the app. We're continuing our outreach and education efforts, including we're going to be profiled in next month, as it turns out, Calabasas and Hidden Hills Living magazine. I'm scheduled to give a lecture in September on wildfire mitigation through the Calabasas Senior Center. Our earthquake prep and recovery unit, we've already made substantial progress in defining the objectives of the app, its structure and design, and we will soon be retaining an app developer to make it real. On the emergency communications to home occupants, our ECHO platform, we are at the June 1 LVM COG meeting, we were reassured by Sheriff's Captain C2 that ECHO would be given a seat at the Emergency Operations Center when disasters strike. And at the same meeting, the city managers urged us to reach out to their SERP groups to coordinate emergency communications using the Interrupt 22 system. Those coordination efforts are ongoing. Other than that, we haven't done anything. Back to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. At this time, I want to do a quick perusal to see if any of the commissioners have any comments they'd like to make or any announcements. So I'm going to start with Ed. You're on mute, Ed.
Sorry about that. I've got laryngitis and I've been coughing. I didn't want everybody to hear it, so I kept it on mute. Thank you for letting me know. So a couple comments, and that is, I'm glad to see you got this the grant application for 75, and then also pending 55,000. Not sure exactly what that's going to be used for. I have a hunch that it's going to be used for radios. Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, we will do this. This is mainly for any announcements or comments. We'll circle back with Brian at a later date so you can get this information from him. And I'm sure he'll be willing, if you want to text him, email him.
Okay.
He is a wealth of information.
So what are these comments concerning them?
Concerning anything that is upcoming, like has happened, like
okay.
let me switch
upcoming
over.
Comment, the flu clinic on 10/1. What are the hours and how is someone going to be able to facilitate an appointment?
It's, I believe, going to be from 8 to 12. We might change it. Basically, we just got the date. We just saved the date because everything is booked even now for those dates. The last couple of years, we've had it done through it's an online registration that the company Passport Health that we contract with, they're the ones who set that up. And so we did that last couple of years and it worked out really well.
Yeah, I've used it with my wife for at least 3 or 4 years. It's smooth as can be. It's really a great system.
Yeah.
In and out, neat and clean. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Norma.
Thanks, Sharon. I wanted to remind everyone that the general plan is being discussed on August 18th. And that was the safety element as well as the circulation element where we had the joint meeting. And they're also going to be discussing the climate plan. But for us, some of the information that we supplied has been incorporated into the general plan. So those of you who are interested, I would suggest you listen.
Thank you. Matt.
No comments this time around. Good for now.
Okay, thank you. Brian?
Nothing additional, no.
Okay. My only comment for this meeting, given that it's summertime, is to be aware of your surroundings. And I'm sure that Deputy Di Matteo will talk a little bit more about it, but just be aware of your surroundings. If there's nothing else, then we'll move right in. Debbie, any oral communications? You're muted, Debbie.
Okay. I don't, let me see. Looks like just us.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anybody.
Okay, then let's move right into the Sheriff's Department report with Deputy Mason Di Matteo.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for having me. All right, so yeah, I have 3 months to report. I have April, May, and June. Before I get into that, I did want to touch up on something relevant to public safety. The city has initiated a public safety program called FLOC. This is an advanced camera surveillance system placed throughout the city. I just wanted to give you an update on where those are and what they do. Just real quick, 5 locations throughout the city for FLOC cameras. 1 on Agora Road and Las Virgenes Road, 1 on Calabasas Road and Parkway Calabasas, 1 on Calabasas Road and Park Granada. We have 1 on Mulholland Highway and Old Topanga Canyon. And then we have the last one over on Park Ora and Park Sorrento. So 5 main arteries of the city. And those cameras will take still photographs. It's motion activated. So any vehicle or motorcycle or bicycle that passes by those cameras will get their photo taken. It will take a clear picture of their license plate, the color, make, and model of those vehicles. So if a detective is investigating a crime and wants to try and find the vehicle associated with that crime, they can search the system not only just for the license plate, but they can search for the make or model of that car, and it will pull up all relevant vehicles that have passed by any of those cameras. To date, it has helped identify suspects in several cases regarding residential burglary and retail theft. Great system. It is still new, so we're slowly getting acclimated to the system, but it is pretty beneficial. Were there any questions on FLOC?
Yeah, I have one.
Sure.
You know, I get a lot of questions about it because we've been working on this for so long, and I was wondering when it was operating, and the thought that not to make a public announcement about it might be in the best interest. So people will, you know, we're not going to attract bad guys or bad girls, but at least we'll have a better handle and opportunity to prevent it when they're here.
Right.
I wanted to get your thoughts on that. People want to know if it's going to be announced, and I have really been being the homeowner president.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. That's definitely something that our station's operations will have to approve, but I don't see.
Do you think there's an advantage or disadvantage of announcing it?
Yeah, that's not my call. I see both sides of the coin, so it really depends on the operations level here at the station. One thing I didn't mention was that Once it takes the photograph, it stores that photograph for 30 days and then it's purged. It's gone forever. So it's not something that stays in the system forever. It's 30 days and then it's gone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So,
sorry, just a two quick things, kind of related to Ed's comment. Similarly, I was curious if there was any discussion about signage where the camera, to advertise kind of on the threshold of as people enter that there is a camera system in place. I know some communities have done that with the flock system. Just curious if there was any discussion.
Not that I'm aware of yet, but that's definitely something I can note and bring up to our operations staff.
Great. And I think just the only other, just on topic with flock, I know Ed's been heavily involved in this. I've had a few calls myself, and my understanding is for those HOAs that may be interested in expanding that system, that is something that they can do at the HOA's cost, but that information can be piped into the sheriff's department. So it's just something to consider for those HOAs in the community that might want an added layer of coverage. Now that the system is in place within the community, that's just something to consider.
Right. Oh, okay. Very good.
Any other questions? Okay. Deputy Matteo.
Okay. So let's get into it. 3 crime reports. Let's start off with April. Let's jump right into it. Crime stats for April. We had 1 rape. This was an incident between ex-partners in a dating relationship. No further information is available about that. It's being handled by the Special Victims Bureau. We had 1 assault. This was an incident that occurred between family members during a family argument. We had 2 burglaries to a business, 6 burglaries to locked vehicles. We had 6 grand theft incidents, 4 petty theft incidents, and 2 thefts from unlocked vehicles. We also had 4 stolen cars. We had a BMW sedan, a Kia Rio, a Ford utility van, and a Chevy pickup. Let's see. Okay, that's it for April. I do have May here, and we did have 1 armed robbery in May. This was a wacky one. This one was all over the place. This happened over on a business district on Las Virgenes Road. It involved an individual who was experiencing some sort of mental crisis or narcotic-induced episode. He went into one of the businesses and stole a knife from the business and then started chasing the employees and residents in the business with the knife. He was taken into custody and charged with robbery. Nobody was hurt, by the way. We did have 3 residential burglaries, 4 burglaries to a business, and 5 burglaries to locked vehicles. And also for the residential burglaries, these are all over the city. Last month, we didn't have any, which is great news. Or excuse me, for April, we didn't have any, but for May, there were 3. One of them was in the Oaks neighborhood. One of them was in the Saratoga area, and one of them was in the Malibu Canyon Apartments area. Let's see, we had 10 grand theft incidents. This includes retail theft, mail theft, porch pirates, etc. One that the community should be aware of is one of these incidents occurred at Gelson's. A female shopper was alone and she was distracted. And while she was distracted, somebody came up and swiped her wallet. They went and used this woman's credit cards at the local Target for a couple $1,000s before she even got to the checkout line at Gelson's. So when you're shopping, especially if you're shopping alone, please be aware of your surroundings and don't have your personal belongings so easily accessible. Including in those grand theft incidents, there were retail thefts from Ulta, Elise Walker, Rite Aid, etc. We had 3 petty thefts. We had 1 stolen vehicle. This was actually an attempt over at the AT&T store. Somebody tried to steal one of their vans and it didn't work out. There was 1 arson. This one was interesting. This was more of a family disturbance and during the disturbance, during the argument, one of the family members tried to burn the house down, but was unsuccessful. That individual was arrested and taken into custody. In addition to that, we had 2 domestic violence felonies. All right, now let's move on over to June. In June, there was an allegation of rape. This was a non-consensual sex between a married couple. No further information is available for that, and it's being handled by the Special Victim Bureau. There were 2 assaults, 2 residential burglaries, 3 burglaries to a business, 2 burglaries to a garage or outbuilding, and 5 vehicle burglaries. The residential burglaries, one was in the Westridge neighborhood near the Calabasas Country Club Golf Course, and the other one was in the Calabasas Park neighborhood. We had 10 grand theft incidents, again, mainly retail based. We had 6 petty theft incidents, 6 thefts from unlocked vehicles. We had 1 stolen car. That was a older Ford sedan from the Commons. And then we had, in addition to that, 1 domestic violence felony. That's all I have for the last 3 months. Are there any questions, comments, concerns?
Any questions?
I've got a quick one.
Matt.
I know it's come up over a number of months. I think it's been mentioned on the reports, is that it seems like there's a lot of vehicle break-ins at the trailheads.
Yes.
It's easy target. We know people aren't coming back for a little while. Any advice or any suggestions that you can offer out on that, just to help secure those cars a little bit better?
Yeah, so right now I'm actually working with the city and our department to get signs posted at these trailheads. Basically signs in big red letters saying, thefts have occurred in this parking lot, secure your belongings, something along those lines. So we're working on getting those signs posted, and they should be here within the next couple of weeks. But yeah, the vehicle burglaries are happening at trailheads and shopping centers. So if you're going to be parking your car and leaving your car for an extended period, the advice I could give you is just don't have anything of value in plain view. If you leave a purse, a wallet, a cell phone, a backpack, a briefcase, something like that, these people are just going to smash your window with whatever they have, and they're going to take it. So to prevent becoming a victim of vehicle burglary or some type of theft, don't leave anything out, and always make sure that your cars are locked and your windows are up. That's basically it.
I'd only add one more thing that I 100% agree. And for those that do keep things in their trunk, don't do it as you're standing at the trailhead. Do it before you leave home, because they're all watching you as you hide your things in your car. So just to take that extra step before you arrive. Other than that, I think I'm good. So thank you so much.
Any other questions from the group? Comments? Okay. I just want to reiterate, it is summer. A lot of people are out and about. Like the deputy said, keep your cars locked, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of what's happening around you, and don't be afraid to report any instances you see out there. Okay. Thank you, Deputy.
No problem. Thank you.
Matteo. Have a good summer.
Likewise.
California Highway Patrol Officer Wes Haver.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
So, like the deputy, I'm going to be talking about the reports for April, May, and June, traffic collision reports on the 101 freeway. So we'll get right into it. For the month of April, the CHP on the northbound 101 responded to 4 traffic collisions. Of the 4 traffic collisions, they were all property damage collisions. Some of the causes of these collisions, what we've seen in the past, unsafe turning movement or unsafe speed, rear end collisions. Compared to the year prior, there were 7, so we're down a few traffic collisions in the month of April for the northbound 101. As far as the southbound 101, there's a total of 10 traffic collisions. Of the 10 collisions, 6 were injury collisions and 4 were property damage collisions. Some different primary collision factors other than I already mentioned was unsafe lane change, and we did have a DUI collision with arrest on the southbound 101. In the year prior in April, there were 7 traffic collisions for the same month. So we're up a few this year. Now for May, the following month, on the northbound 101, there's 3 traffic collisions. 2 were injury collisions and 1 was a property damage only collision. The cause of these collisions were unsafe speed and unsafe turning movement, something we see pretty much time and time again on the freeway. In the year prior, there were 3 also, so very consistent for the month of May. Now for the southbound 101, there is a total of 9 traffic collisions. 4 were injury collisions and 5 were property damage only collisions. No different collision factors or causes of collisions. There was another DUI collision and arrest on the southbound side. And the year prior, there were 8. So we're up 1 for the month of May on the southbound 101. And for the final month, June, on the northbound 101, there were 4 traffic collisions. 1 was an injury and 3 were property damage only collisions. Same collision factors as the others. And then the year prior, there were 6. So we're down a few collisions this year compared to June of 2021. The southbound 101 for June, there were 6 traffic collisions. So it's good to see in the summer months down a few compared to the previous 2 months. Summer, you see a lot more traveling and so forth. Again, there are 6. 2 were injury collisions and 4 were property damage only collisions. Some of the causes were unsafe speed, unsafe lane change, a lot of the similar causes of these collisions too. The year prior, we had 7 traffic collisions, so we're down 1 for the month of June this year. That's it for the collision reports. I also wanted to talk about driving under the influence. Just give a quick little refresher on driving under the influence. We definitely see an uptick in the summer months. You know, it's more holidays, more graduation parties, stays light out later. So people more out and about, going to weddings and so forth. So we definitely see an increase in the summer months. And just a caution, people, a lot of times we think of DUI, we just think of like alcohol or marijuana, but it can be things such as prescription medication, even impairing over-the-counter medication. And of course, illicit drugs can also cause DUI. So basically, DUI affects a person's motor skills, reaction time, and judgment, which is something we definitely don't want when you're behind a multi-thousand-pound vehicle. Of course, they are preventable, such as, you know, preparing designated sober driver or using public transportation, taxis, ride shares. We have a lot of options nowadays, or even spend the night at a friend's or a loved one's house. And you can always do your part if you're, you know, say you're coming from a long holiday weekend somewhere and you think you might see an impaired driver, you most certainly can call 911. It is an emergency, especially if you plan on being on that, you know, highway, the 101, 405 for a long period of time, where you can call 911, give the dispatcher information, and a lot of times officers might call you. If you can safely answer the phone and give your location, we'll try to get to you guys and get that impaired driver off the roadway. It's definitely a lot easier at graveyard shift, night shift, because there isn't much traffic. It's a little hard to do it at that interchange when there's so much traffic, but we'll try our best to get there. Just go over some of the costs with DUI arrest. I tell, you know, family members, anyone listening in on the public side of things, that you know, an average DUI cost in California is anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000. A lot of factors depend on it, as far as your insurance rates going up, court costs, so it does vary quite a bit. And then it stays on your DMV record for 10 years. Eventually it does go away, but 10 years is how long it'll be on there. So generally that's, your rates are gonna stay that high for that long of a time. That's why it's so expensive. So that's it for mine. I just want to keep everyone safe with DUI driving in the summer months. And does anyone have any questions in regards to DUI or the traffic collision? Yeah, go ahead.
Brian.
You may not know the answer to this, but when you talk about injury collisions, is there any way are these typically one passenger or one driver in the vehicle that is injured, or is it multiple? And how serious are they? Are there fatalities associated with these?
It could be anything across the board. So there could just be one person in the car, or there could be a family, full of 4 or 5 people. I'd have to look at every individual report, but generally something like a complaint of pain or whatnot is not going to be an injury. It's going to be more so like the officer came to the scene and someone has a bloody nose, or some sort of bruising or abrasion. That's what we see a lot from like airbags, things of that nature. They're not all major injury collisions where there's something we consider major injury collision would be like a broken bone, or if someone gets life flighted out by a LA County fire, which happens quite, frequently out in the canyons in the summer months. So it's a little more common than you think. It doesn't always happen on the freeway as much as it does on some of these canyon roads, but it's sort of all over the spectrum, I would say. It's hard to answer that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, everybody be safe out there this summer. Thank you, Officer Haver.
Thanks for having me.
Next up, Fire Department report, Megan and Chief Drew Smith.
Yes, well, good evening, Drew Smith here. And I just want to let you know that your fire family is doing good. We're maintaining a healthy workforce. And also I wanted to thank you for letting us participate in the EOC training with our law partners. So it's a side of us that you may not routinely see, but we do that quite frequently with our law partners at Lost Hills. So I hope that you, everybody who was involved, found it very challenging and informative. For the last 3 months, nothing really gleaned out, but just some totals and some averages. We did have 10 fires. 2 of those were small structure fires, and due to the quick action from your Calabasas firefighters, if you will, and your surrounding stations, we kept them very small. And we had 8 other fires that were either a rubbish fire, outdoor type fire, or vehicle fires. And as far as the EMS component, we're averaging 115 a month, and on average 24 required advanced life support, and transporting approximately 70 per month. So the run total average is nearly 200 a month for the city of Calabasas. And I don't know what the over under was for the snake calls, but we had 107 for the total of 3 months, and averaging at 35 really for the month. So as you started this whole session out with it, summer is here. And since we last talked, that we did communicate that those snake calls would go up, and actually they're pretty significant for the last 3 months, and we anticipate them to stay at average. So just be careful out there, and please call us. Don't attempt to be a snake wrangler. Let us handle that, because we're trained to deal with them as we need to. As far as other happenings within Los Angeles County Fire Department, just know that we have a 365-day robust response to wildland fires, or any emergency for that matter. So we don't do any tiered dispatching, meaning we don't slow down a response. We only augment responses. So speaking specifically to wildfire and how we combat wildfires, on a daily basis, we have a relative risk danger for the probability for initial attack fires and large fire growth. And we modify our response according to that. That modification is augmenting what our already very robust response is. So with that being said, we have contract air that is now in place, which is the helitanker, which is 3,000 gallons, which we contract with Southern California Edison. So that adds to our air power, if you will, for dropping either water or fire retardant out of those helicopters. And we also had the availability to call fixed wing aircraft for wildland fires as well. So all those, we just basically make a radio call, and those augmented aircraft get launched for a wildfire if we see fit. But we will always get our aircraft, our fixed wing, are as requested, but our helicopters always come on a first alarm brush assignment. So we're very fortunate with that, or Los Angeles County in general is very fortunate for how robust our response is. I'd like to also thank you for the home and ignition inspections that you're conducting. That really helps us send the message to the community on what is important and what we're trying to do on having that ember resistive construction. As we know, as we start here in the summer and transition of the fall, which will be upon us before you know it, for that ember resistance that we can have for the home hardening endeavor that we're shooting for. So thank you very much for that. And coming, we will also contract, going back to aircraft, our super scoopers will be back September 1st, pending September 1st for the fall type of fire season. And like to thank our arson watch partners that are out there. We communicate with them quite frequently, and our newly people that are going through CERT. So that community involvement is very important to us and everybody in a whole. So we appreciate that support from the public safety side of the house. And I will now leave it to Megan Currier, see if she would like to add on.
Thank you.
Good evening,
Megan.
everyone. Chief Smith covered most everything. I have a couple of quick updates to give. As he mentioned, the CERT class with Calabasas and Hidden Hills at Founders Hall, I believe, is in full swing. I've been out of town for the past 3 weeks and just got back, so I'm still getting back into the swing of things. But I hope to be at the next class. I believe that's on the 4th, right, Debbie? Skipping the 28th and going, okay, so the next class is on the 4th. And on the 18th, which I believe is the last CERT class, I'll be bringing the NOAA weather radios. So we've moved into the distribution phase of the NOAA weather radios that we've discussed before. And we're having multiple different distribution events throughout Division 7. And the one in Calabasas is going to be concurrent with the CERT class on the 18th. So I will have those. I'm sure, I know some of you have already signed up. I saw your names on the list. So for anyone who hasn't, I believe Debbie has the flyer. I can put the, or I can send the link out again also to sign up to get one of these radios. And hopefully we can get the bulk of them out before we get deep into fire season. But other than that, I think that's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Are there any questions?
I have one more, and that's that I just wanted to thank the city for Chief Dyer's assistance. So I know that Chief Dyer gave you his work history. So I've been on the job for 34 years. So him and I go back a long way, and we have a shared interest in what the greater good is and what it means to drive forward in the interest of public safety. So we have already, I don't even think you hired him yet, and we were already talking. So I'm in communications with Chief Dyer, and it's great to have him on board with the city of Calabasas. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Another thing I forgot to mention, sorry, about the NOAA weather radios. So on August 23rd, after we get the bulk of these radios out to the public, to the residents, we're going to be holding a virtual training session. So we will teach people about the radios, what the purpose of them is, how to use them, how to program them. So that's tentatively set for August 23rd, and I will send all the details to Debbie also.
Thank you, Megan. I do have something regarding the upcoming quote unquote fire season. I know that I hear from a lot of people throughout the community. There's a lot of concern during the fire season as we go drier and drier with the inability to water our lawns, and the trees are dying. What advice or what can you tell people to make them feel at least a little bit more comfortable about the fact that things are dying around them, and how the fire season could truly affect them and the community?
Okay, that is a great question. So water in general plays a role. So I can say that the water delivery that we use for domestic use is one element of things, which is watering your lawns. The other is how much rainfall and what our water capacity looks like here. So there's the firefighting mission and then the domestic water usage. So I know with the water restrictions that are in place, it does play a role. So if you have vegetation that is used to getting an ample amount of water, it's going to be put on the homeowner to really maintain their vegetation, their ornamental vegetation. So if you see that you have some vegetation that is struggling, remove the dead vegetation and keep as much of the healthy vegetation as you can. What will impact your home or near your home is dead vegetation, whether it's ornamental or in the wildlands. The wildland fuels are reacting to Mother Nature and how much precipitation we get throughout the rainfall year. And we're at average. So our vegetation is relatively normal for what it should be for this time of year. So, but your ornamental vegetation or your landscaping, if you will, may feel a little stressed. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you may have to do some larger manicuring of your landscaping that's around your home to remove and limb up some of the trees or shrubs that you may have that are used to having ample water that may not are once again feeling stress from that. So things that you can do is maintaining and getting rid of the dead wood out of it. And secondly is spacing. So you may have to remove some vegetation from a continuous fuel bed so you can break a transition if fire starts, and that is with separating your vegetation, and try to have a heart-to-heart with yourself at the homeowner level, of course, to see if something's suffering and dying, it might be better to remove it. So we can thin out what's around your home. And it's not just within the ember restriction zone of 5 feet. It may be 30 feet or 100 feet or 200 feet from your home. So if it looks stressed and it's dying, you might have to have just a welfare check with how your landscaping is, which may need to be manicured more robustly than usual. But dead vegetation around the home can be challenging because it's a good ember catcher. And when it catches that ember, it supports consumption of that vegetation and spreads it to other things with the heat energy that can be distributed around your home.
Thank you very much. I think that's an important thing this time right now. Brian.
Chief Smith, thank you for that. I've heard that I believe next year there's going to be a prohibition against foliage within 5 feet of the house. Can you comment or elaborate on that?
So we want an ember resistive 5 foot around your home. So does that mean it needs to be concrete? The answer is no, but can you have some sort of succulents that don't accumulate dead woody material? The answer is yes. Do we want wood chips around that 5 foot area like a lot of people used to have? The answer is no. So we don't want that receptive component of that whatever vegetation is within the first 5 feet of your home to have and promote fire spread into your home. As you know, as you've talked to the home hardening, we talk about vents, we talk about boxing in the eaves, we're talking about all these different components to home hardening. And one of those home hardening elements is that 5 foot resistive ember zone, which you can use succulents, but anything that you plant, you need to maintain. So it doesn't mean it needs to be concrete statues or anything. It just needs to be maintained. And if it's ember resistant zone, that means that it has a very, very low chance or no chance to support combustion of a fire.
And is there going to be a requirement that bushes and trees that don't comply be removed?
That is correct. So that is transitioning now through county fire code, and also with that. And so it's been in effect for a year now. We're basically not sticker shocking the residents or the community, of course. So we are every year enhancing what that brush inspection component is on that ember resistant zone of 5 feet. So from last year to this year, the compliancy is really good. I really appreciate the residents for taking note of that when they're talking to the inspectors or have questions, or going to our LA County Fire Department website with the ready, set, go on brush clearance requirements. It's spelled out in there, and we can see the difference that people are adhering to that, and we're having great compliance so far.
Okay, so that would be in the Ready, Set, Go pamphlet.
And make it distributed in the Ready, Set, Go. Correct.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I wanted to just make a comment that our trees in our park, where we have a community park, it's rather large, and several of them were showing real signs of stress. So our homeowners association was able to arrange to have an increased allotment just for those trees. So if anyone out there is wanting to check on that, they should call the Las Virgenes Water District, and perhaps they can also have an additional allotment.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much for both of you. Have a great summer, and let's have a very easy fire season.
Thank you. Appreciate the support.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, Debbie, emergency preparedness report.
Thank you very much. All right, the first thing I have here is the city is updating some of their plans, the emergency operations plan, the EOP, and the actually a COOP, which is COOP, stands for Continuity of Operations Plan, which we will need to do from scratch. So those two plans will be hopefully having a consultant come in and working with Mike and I and updating those plans for us. The second item on here was the hazard mitigation plan, and that one was revised in 2018. It's a 5-year plan, so it's due in 2023. So it's the COG, Council of Governments. As like last time, they obtained a grant to update that plan, and that plan, along with the EOP, includes a lot of community engagement. So we'll be working on those, and you'll be notified if there's an invited to all the meetings that we have to update those plans. Do you have any questions on that?
Okay.
Next item, city EOC training. As a few people have already mentioned, we have been doing a lot of training for our employees on emergency operations. That's one of the things that our city manager really wants us to understand and have a good EOC, Emergency Operations Center. So we've been doing a lot of things. As you know, we are purchasing a mobile EOC trailer that we can use to take it to the command center or just another location if we need to. But it's basically about a 16 to 20 foot trailer that will have everything you would need in the EOC, all the laptops, all the TVs, radios. So it's like everything is together. So we would be able to work from there. It's good, especially if we can't work from City Hall, from our EOC in City Hall. So we've been having a lot of training so that we can operate in this mobile trailer. And the last training that we did included about 25 staff, and we had designated certain people, department heads, and then middle management, people that would most likely be in the EOC. And so we started with training for them, and we had the sheriff there and the fire and CHP as well. And so it was a day and a half training, and it was very good. We had a consultant come in, and he talked about what an EOC is and what, how it operates. And the second day we had a tabletop exercise. So they gave us a scenario, and then we discussed, what we thought was what we would do, what we should do. And out of that there will be an after action report that will, we're going to discuss that actually tomorrow with a consultant and see what we need to improve on, which is, a lot of things. And one really good thing that came out of it is that the city manager asked everybody for recommendations, things that they felt that the city should purchase or we would need for the emergency preparedness aspect of it. So it's all good. I think everybody's excited about it, and we're going to be having more training with more exercises, and then I'd like to do something with the community as well. So we would have a scenario, and it may be just a shakeout in October. We'll do something, and then maybe involve a couple other cities, and then the sheriff and fire and CHP, and then send out information, test information in Blackboard Connect, through email, through voice, through text. We'll work with the ham radio operators. We have the AM radio station that we will send alerts out on, and we have the usual social media, the Twitter and Nextdoor and Facebook and all those that we normally send out. And then in addition will be the Zone Haven, so we'll roll that into it as well. So I'm very excited to see how this all works. I think we've got a lot of different avenues to get the message out, and redundancy is the name of the game. So that's the EOC training. Any questions on that? The next item I have on here is Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy grant, and this is where we had ordered the EOC trailer, the mobile trailer. We're still waiting for the part. It's been quite a few months now, but the supply chain is just very slow. We have upgraded our backup repeater system, the AM radio station, with solar power at our repeater site. So that's good. We did a home hardening and defensible space video with one of our residents at her house. It was the fire department, and I sent the link to everybody. It's a 5-part little mini, like a minute and a half vignettes of, what you need to look at on your roof, what you need to look at for your gutters, what do you need to do, 0 to 5 feet from your house. So I think they're very good, and it's on our website, and it's on the emergency preparedness page, so you can go to that and look at those. And I'm hoping to do more of those videos as well, and then follow-ups to those, especially to some of them that Brian has gone out to and done his home ignition zone evaluations, or HIZE, as he calls them, and do follow-ups to that. So I'm really looking forward to that too. What else? We've got the CERT training, which we have a very big turnout. We have quite a few Calabasas in the class. And we did the fire extinguisher training the other night, and then last night, or tonight, the last class we had just a general first aid session, which was a lot of fun. The NOAA radios that Megan had discussed, I haven't put it out there to the public yet. What I did is we have 50 radios that were given, that, you know, the city of Calabasas will be able to receive. And half of those I've already signed out to CERT Group and EPIC and Council and the PSC. So you already are on my list to receive them. You won't have to sign up for them. So we've got you covered, and then we'll put it out on the website for residents. And then hopefully we'll be able to purchase more. And what they do, the good thing about those is that they'll wake you up in the middle of the night if there is some kind of emergency. They'll wake you up, get you out of bed. So that was the NOAA radios. And Brian already mentioned that he helped me at the first aid booth at the 4th of July Spectacular, which was a lot of fun. He was very helpful, and I'm really glad he came by and helped me. And he had all his epic handouts there to give out. We also have a CPR training. If any of you are interested in taking it, it is going to be on Monday, August 15th. It's during the day, starts at 8 a.m. If any of you are interested, please send me an email. It's for commissioners and volunteers of the city. And I have one more thing here. Oh, and I have on here the crime prevention subcommittees that Sharon, I want to ask you, Sharon, have we done anything with that, or would you like to start?
We were kind of on hold waiting for information from you all to determine if that was going to go forward. We really want to do it. We're ready to put something together, but we just wanted the thumbs up. And we also wanted to see if there's any way we could combine some of the other safety elements that are part of this commission, like the fire and the earthquake, and involve people from EPIC to help us with that as well, kind of make it more of a well-rounded. I think the crime is very important, and I think the other side, and as much education and support we can put out there for the community, the messaging is important.
And I think this time we had talked about combining both a live presentation and a Zoom that can go with it for those that couldn't attend in person, just as a further reach if possible.
Like a fair, right? Or a expo.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'll touch base with the city manager on that, because all this is good information. We just need to get it going. And I think that's all I have for my emergency preparedness report. Mike Dyer here has been very helpful. He's a wealth of information, and he's contributing quite a bit and teaching me a lot of things. And I'm glad he's here for now. So just teach me everything I need to know, and we'll be good.
We appreciate the fact that he is here and supporting, working with you, Debbie. We look forward to establishing what our role can be with you, and hopefully this is a great commission, a lot of great minds on this commission. They are very directed, and we're hoping that you do use the minds that are sitting on the commission to help you pull forth some of the agenda that needs to be done for the community here in the city. So we do appreciate that. Any other comments or questions? I know we held off asking you questions or more questions to this point. So if there's anything, any comments from any of you, we'd love to hear them.
Yeah, I have got one. I can tell you, I'm really excited about being part of this commission and what I see about preparedness. I'm new to the commission. I'm new to the face of the city working on all this, but I got to tell you, after what we all went through with Woolsey, it was a scare of a lifetime. I mean, right down to the core. It was right over our heads with their that 747. I've said it before. It flew over our house. I couldn't believe it. I could see the screws in the steel casing of the fuselage. It was so close. So this is great. I mean, I only see great progress. So you're a terrific leader, and I look forward to participating, and we all do.
Any other comments? Or we're really delighted to have you here with us in the city. I do have a question for both of you. I don't know if you can answer it, but I'm sure at some point, hopefully, we'll all get back together in person. So we're looking forward to that day. I don't know if it will be October or not, but we're ready whenever you are to proceed with getting all back together. Okay, so we still have a couple items. Again, thank you, Debbie. Debbie, that was a great report. Appreciate it. Future agenda items, we still have the appreciation luncheon on there and the teen court involvement. And I'd like to hold those as a placeholder for the moment, although I think our focus in the next little bit will be on education and support through this expo that we want to try and have for crime and fire safety and for earthquake preparedness. Are there any other thoughts or additions to a future agenda items that anybody would like to have at this time? No? So if there are no other questions and no other comments, I would like to have a motion to adjourn this meeting until our next meeting, which is October 24th, 2022, for the Public Safety Commission. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn?
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Norma. Thank you. With that, you guys all have a great summer. Be safe, be careful, and enjoy the beautiful weather. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.